Jan. My name's Haley. I'm part of the Tri-State team of Unity and Justice, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Breonna's Law. So first, I want to thank everyone for coming out today to Breonna Taylor Day 2021. And today marks the one-year anniversary, as Jan said, of unmarked law enforcement storming into and shooting blindly into Breonna Taylor's apartment. The police were serving a no-knock warrant, a surprise attack that can not only disorient inhabitants, but can also result in injury or death. One of the things we know for sure is that more tragic killings like Breonna's will continue to happen if we do not reform the policing institution in this country. No-knock warrants allow police officers to search a home by surprise, an attack that can have tragic outcomes. In response to Breonna's killing in Louisville, Kentucky, City Council passed an ordinance to all-out ban no-knock search warrants in the city. The ordinance also requires all police officers to wear body cameras, which must be activated 5 minutes prior before a search and stay on for at least 5 minutes after the search is completed. The data obtained from the search must be retained for 5 years following the executed search order. Officers involved in civilian death will also be required to undergo drug and alcohol testing. The passing of this ordinance, named Breonna's Law, was a great first step in police reform to protect Louisville citizens from murder at the hands of police. In response to the widespread demonstrations demanding justice for Breonna, Kentucky Senator Ron Paul introduced a bill called the Justice for Breonna Taylor Act, or S 3955, in the 116th Congress. This bill prohibits federal law enforcement from serving no-knock warrants. It requires officers to provide notice of authority and purpose before serving a search warrant. This bill also prohibits use of no-knock warrants in state and local agencies that receive funds from the Department of Justice. Paul's bill is a watered-down version of Breonna's Law and does not regulate law enforcement enough to hold officers involved in lethal incidents accountable for their actions. This bill lacks the requirements for body cameras, data retainment, and substance testing, and we must demand that these requirements be included. If Ron Paul's bill doesn't seem like enough, then Senate Bill 4 will come as even more of a disappointment. This bill limits the use of no-knock warrants but does not ban them entirely. It is very weak appeasement to those demanding justice for Breonna. It is time for America to stop enabling the murderers of innocent black women and men at the hands of law enforcement. And we must stand together to demand that the true Breonna's Law be passed as national law. We must continue to contact our representatives to demand this. And we must continue to stand in solidarity with the movement around the country to show that there is still widespread support for justice for Breonna. And while we wait for our demands to be met at the national level, we can also demand change at the local level. We will be creating a petition to pass Breonna's Law as a local ordinance in the near future. Please follow the Tri-State Team for Unity and Justice public page on Facebook to stay up to date on that. And now I want to introduce a special guest speaker. He's running against Jim Banks, who is our Indiana 3 congressman, who, I don't know if you know him, but I certainly don't like Jim Banks. So I'm rooting for John Stevens, who is going to say a few words.